Did you know that Disney's princesses have a dark side? From the moment Snow White was released in 1937, each movie has had a secret message hidden in plain sight. And it's only in recent years that people have started to realize that these messages are actually quite dark. For example, in Cinderella, the stepsisters are trying to cut off Cinderella's fingers and toes so she couldn't fit into the glass slipper. That's messed up. And then there's the hidden detail in Ariel's dress in The Little Mermaid. If you look closely, you can see that her dress is covered with what appears to be teeth. Some people believe that these are actually the teeth of the sea, which Ursula, who steals Ariel's voice in exchange for legs. And let's not forget about the original story of Snow White. In the Brothers Grimm version, Snow White's evil stepmother wasn't just jealous of her beauty. She was also her own mother. So yeah, Disney princesses may seem like a breath of fresh air compared to some of the other stuff on Disney, but they definitely have their share of dark secrets. Part 1. The Dark Side of Disney Princesses. 1. Stolen Childhood. Before the Disney movie, there was the fairy tale, and before the fairy tale, there was reality. Historians say many stories, including those of Snow White and Cinderella, were based on real girls whose lives were tragically cut short. Maybe Disney took these stories, added some magic, and made us all forget the darkness lurking beneath, to a world without consequences. Ever wonder why Disney princesses make terrible decisions? Well, they're immortal, or at least they seem to be. No matter how foolish a princess acts, she always ends up in a better place than she started. Just think about it. Ariel trades her voice for legs and makes a deal with a sea witch. Sure, she gets legs, but she also puts her entire kingdom in danger. But in the end, she becomes a princess anyway. Or how about Snow White? She sneaks into a room full of dwarfs, then takes a bite of a mysterious fruit and nearly dies. Yet somehow, she magically lands a hot prince and becomes queen. Disney basically tells us, it's okay to be reckless if you re a princess because in the end, you'll always win. 3. A seductive trap. If you're a Disney princess, your best chance at love might be a stranger who appears out of nowhere. After all, that's how most of them meet their prince. Ariel sees a handsome guy in a faraway land and immediately falls in love. No time to get to know him though. She ditches her underwater home without a second thought. Snow White locks herself in a room after 7 dudes barge in. She doesn't bother calling the police. She just stands around, looking pretty, until a hot guy happens to stumble upon her. And Cinderella barely knows her prince. One minute she's dancing at a party. The next, she's making out with a random dude who just slipped on her dress. It's almost like Disney is saying true love can conquer anything, even common sense. 4. Sleeping Beauty, who hasn't fallen asleep and woken up with a kiss. Well, maybe a lot of people. But Disney princesses seem to do it all the time. Aurora literally sleeps for years and is only woken up by a kiss. Snow White takes a bite of an apple and hits the hay. Even Cinderella passes out after midnight, only to be saved by some dude kissing her hand. You gotta ask yourself, what are the odds? These princesses must have some serious sleeping disorders. 5. Forbidden Love. Okay, let's talk about that kiss between Aurora and Prince Philip. At first glance, it looks like a sweet romance, but when you think about it, it's kinda messed up. Aurora is cursed to die, and the only way to break the curse is through true love's kiss. Talk about pressure. Now imagine waking up from a deep sleep, meeting a guy for the first time, and suddenly he's trying to kiss you. You wouldn't exactly feel safe, would you? 6. Bad decisions. Remember when Ariel decided to trade her voice for human legs? Yeah, that wasn't the smartest move. I mean, she's literally sacrificing her identity for a guy she just met. But hey, who needs brains when you got beauty, right? Well, turns out, not that much. After she ditches her mermaid life, Ariel can't even walk properly. She stumbles around on land like a fish out of water. And don't forget Jasmine. She falls head over heels for a guy in disguise. Literally, Aladdin covers up his face with a mask, and she's all, I must marry him. Talk about judging a book by its cover. 7. A World Without Men. Forget happily ever after. How about happily ever alone? That seems to be the case for most Disney princesses. They get their happily ever after by running off with some guy they just met. Take Snow White, for example. She spends most of the movie alone, but the moment a guy saunters by, she ditches her dwarf BFFs and chooses Prince Charming instead. Same goes for Cinderella. After a single night of dancing, she ditches her mouse pals and chooses the mysterious prince. Most Disney princesses have zero interest in female friendship. Their happily ever after involves ditching their besties and choosing a dude. Wonder what happened to girl power? Part 2, coming soon. Princess, number 1. Jasmine, Aladdin, 0 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Who could forget Jasmine, the independent princess trapped inside a tower? Well, most people know the Disney version, but the original tale is surprisingly much darker. No Kavi, just a dark dungeon in Disney's take. Jasmine is confined to a cave with an exit only at night, but in the original tale by Antoine Galland, she's locked in a literal dungeon during the day. Only a magic lamp offers her escape. Talk about a dark twist. 2. Tigers aren't friendly in Disney's Agrabah. Raja is Jasmine's loyal pet. But in the original tale, tigers are symbols of untamed sexuality. Scholars point out that Raja's name might be a nod to the Arabic word for female genitalia. Now, that's a shocking thought. 3. Abu is more than a sidekick. Abu might seem like a cute monkey, but in the original tales, monkeys represent lust and sensuality. They're basically there to remind everyone that Jasmine is a sexual being trapped inside a patriarchal cage. For Jafar's unhinged villain arc in the Disney version, Jafar simply wants to rule Agrabah. But in the original tales, he's downright demonic. He uses his powers to seduce Jasmine, trying to make her his queen. We're talking full-on sexual assault. Thankfully, Disney took out that disturbing subplot. 5. Marriage as a transaction in Disney's version. Jasmine chooses to marry Aladdin for love. But remember the original tales. Marriages were all about politics and power. Jasmine's arranged marriages are a way for her father to maintain control over Agrabah. Love has nothing to do with it. 6. Stolen wishes in the Disney classic. Jasmine gets 3 wishes from the lamp. But did you know, in the original tale, Abu steals one of them? Talk about a plot twist. Abu wishes to become an elephant, showcasing the monkey's cunning and desire for freedom. 7. Dangerous seduction. If you think the Cave of Wonders is intimidating, check out the original tale. Jasmine can only leave during the night, and she has to lure men inside with her beauty. These men are transformed into apes, showing the dangers of Jasmine's world. Disney definitely toned down the darkness. 8. Hidden female gaze in Disney's version. Jasmine is often seen as a helpless damsel, but that's not the whole story. Scholars argue that scenes like the Prince Ali song show a hidden female gaze. Jasmine is actively checking out Aladdin, highlighting her sexual nature that's often overlooked. 9. The Sultan's regressive views. Remember the Sultan in Disney's movie? Well, in the original tales, he's even worse. His strict rules and resistance to change show a more regressive and unlikable ruler. Disney modernized him for a reason. 10. Forbidden love. Despite the darkness, there's still hope. Jasmine and Aladdin's forbidden love suggests a commentary on interracial relationships, especially in the context of colonialism. Disney didn't shy away from addressing important issues, even in a fantastical tale. Jasmine may seem like your typical Disney princess, but her story holds hidden meanings that challenge societal norms and question authority, all while hiding her true self behind the veil of a golden cage. But wait, there's more. In Part 3, we'll explore the shocking truth behind Sleeping Beauty and Snow White, revealing the hidden symbolism that will change the way you watch these classics forever. If you haven't seen them yet, I highly recommend checking them out. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started. Princess, number 1. Pocahontas, 152-850. Pocahontas is a Native American icon, and when Disney released a film in 1995, it was praised for bringing indigenous cultures to the big screen. But as with other Disney films, there's a lot more to her story than meets the eye. 1. A history of colonialism. The story of Pocahontas is set against the backdrop of the colonial settlement of Jamestown, Virginia. Disney chose to focus on the romance between Pocahontas and John Smith, ignoring the violent realities of colonization, slavery, and disease brought over by Europeans. 2. The portrayal of Native Americans. The film faced criticism for its portrayal of Native Americans. Some argue that it reinforced harmful stereotypes, portraying indigenous characters as noble savages, mystical, primitive, and uncivilized. 3. Historical inaccuracies. The movie takes creative liberties with historical figures and events. For example, Pocahontas was only 10 or 12 years old when she supposedly met John Smith. Additionally, there is no record that she saved Smith's life, nor that her father, Chief Powhatan, ever tried to kill him. 4. Cultural appropriation. During the making of the film, Disney reached out to several Native American consultants, but many indigenous groups felt that their input was limited to superficial matters like teaching animators how to make war paint and headdresses. 5. The love story plotline. Adult audiences recognize that the romantic storyline between Pocahontas and John Smith is a product of Disney's imagination, but it overshadows the film's themes of colonialism and cultural differences. 6. The enduring legacy. Despite its flaws, Pocahontas remains an important film for representation. It was the first Disney movie to feature a Native American princess and has inspired many young, indigenous viewers. However, it's crucial to acknowledge the film's shortcomings and historical inaccuracies to gain a deeper understanding of the real Pocahontas and her legacy. So while Pocahontas symbolizes courage and environmentalism, her story also reveals disturbing truths about colonization, cultural representation, and Disney's tendency to whitewash history. But that's not all. Up next, let's talk about Rapunzel and discover what secrets her story holds. Princess number 2. Rapunzel, 21 o'clock to 28 minutes and 0 seconds. Let's talk about Tangled. On the surface, it's a fun movie about a princess with magical hair who escapes her tower and experiences the world. But once you look deeper, you can find some really unsettling stuff. 1. The strange Mother Gothel. Mother Gothel is one of the most peculiar Disney villains. Her obsession with Rapunzel stems from the belief that Rapunzel's magical hair will keep her young forever. This twisted desire is never adequately explained, leaving many viewers with unanswered questions. 2. Kidnapping and imprisonment. In the original Grimm version of the story, Rapunzel was kidnapped as a baby and locked away in a tower. While Disney softens this in their adaptation, the idea of imprisonment and isolation is still a major part of the plot. 3. Manipulation and gaslighting. Mother Gothel manipulates Rapunzel throughout the film, lying to her about her origins and controlling her emotions. This emotional abuse is disguised as care, making it harder for Rapunzel to realize she's being manipulated. 4. The use of magical hair. Rapunzel's hair has healing powers, but Mother Gothel uses it selfishly for her own beauty. This act is never addressed in the film, leaving viewers to wonder about the ethics of using magic for personal gain. 5. Unrealistic body standards. Throughout the film, Mother Gothel reinforces unrealistic body standards, implying that being skinny and young is the ultimate goal. She fixates on Rapunzel's weight, commenting on her changing body with unsettling frequency. 6. The power of motherhood. Perhaps the most disturbing aspect of Tangled is Mother Gothel's twisted view of motherhood. She yearns for the unconditional love of a child, but is unable to provide Rapunzel with the affection and guidance she needs. So while Tangled explores themes of identity, self-discovery, and family, it also delves into darker territory, showcasing manipulation, imprisonment, and a villain whose motives are both selfish and psychologically complex. And that concludes our video on Rapunzel and Mother Gothel. Stay tuned, because next time we continue our exploration of the dark side of Disney with Mona and Merida. Until then, remember to check out our latest content and leave your feedback below. See you soon. 7. Elsa from Frozen. Elsa may seem like a sweet queen who just wants to build a snowman, but don't be fooled by her icy exterior. her story holds secrets that will chill you to the bone. 1. The real Elsa was a fearsome leader. When you think of Elsa, you probably picture a glamorous queen with magical powers. But in real life, her namesake ruled with an iron fist. Queen Elsa I of Denmark wasn't called the Snow Queen for nothing. She kept her enemies frozen in fear, literally. 2. Hans Christian Andersen wasn't too kind either. The famous author didn't exactly have a great opinion of women, and his portrayal of Elsa reflects that. His stories often criticize female power and desire, turning strong women into objects of ridicule. And the Snow Queen is no exception. 3. A twisted love story. Let's talk about the creepy romance in Frozen. Yes, the guy who makes Anna fall in love at first sight is a total creep. He uses his good looks and status to manipulate people. It's a disturbing side of the story that most viewers don't pick up on. For Oaken's dark secret. Remember Oaken from Frozen? The guy who owns the trading post. Yeah, him. He seems pretty harmless, right? Well, not exactly. In the original movie, Oaken's shop is called Wandering Oaken's Trading Post and Sauna. And let's just say the sauna has a sinister purpose. It's where Hans lures Anna to take her away from the kingdom and get rid of her. Fortunately, they changed this in the American dub. 5. The abominable truth. Ever wonder why Olaf is so chill about Elsa accidentally killing him? Well, it's because he's immortal. Yep, you heard me right. Snowmen in this universe don't melt. They just keep coming back to life. Talk about a plot hole. 6. Frozen's true meaning. Now, I know this might sound deep, but stick with me here. The entire movie is a metaphor for living with depression. Elsa's fear of her powers reflects the isolation and withdrawal that comes with depression. The song Let It Go is like her letting go of the struggle, embracing her true self, even if it means being alone. Anna, on the other hand, represents the hopeful side of things. She believes in Elsa, and their reunion shows that love and acceptance can help someone come out of their shell. Of course, this is just a theory, but it adds a whole new layer to the movie. Elsa may wear a beautiful gown, but behind the glitz and glamour lies a story of chilling secrets, a twisted love story, and a deeper meaning that will leave you breathless. Last but not least, Princess Snow. 8. Tiana, from The Princess and the Frog. Tiana dreams of opening her own restaurant, but her path to the Big Easy is paved with some pretty messed up stuff. 1. The Frog Prince equals dark origins. Okay, let's start with a classic fairy tale. The Frog Prince has got to be one of the creepiest stories ever. Imagine being turned into a frog by a witch just because you won't kiss her. And the only way to break the curse is to receive a kiss from someone else. Talk about messed up. 2. Mama Odie's shady past. Mama Odie is supposed to be this wise voodoo priestess. But what does she know that makes her so secretive? According to the novel, she's hiding out because she's wanted for practicing voodoo in New Orleans. Yep, she's on the run from the law because of her magical ways. 3. Ray, the Fireflies, and the Shadow Man. Remember Ray, the Firefly, who lights up Tiana's life? Well, he's actually a representation of Tiana's pure heart. But get this, the Shadow Man, who's trying to steal Ray, is a symbol of death. Talk about a downer ending for a children's movie. 4. Kissing a toad. In the original story, Tiana doesn't turn into a frog. She turns into a toad. And the whole kissing thing, well, it's not exactly a fairy tale. If she didn't kiss the toad, she wouldn't turn back. But the biggest twist, the toad is Prince Navin in disguise. So Tiana spends a whole year kissing a dude without knowing it. 5. The dark side of Mardi Gras. Now, let's talk about the iconic Mardi Gras scene. It's supposed to be all fun and festive, but underneath the colorful costumes and jazz music, there's a darker side. Mardi Gras is a celebration of excess and indulgence before Lent, a time when people let loose and do whatever they want. But it's also a bit of a warning. The party ends soon, and then it's back to reality. 6. Tiana's hard work. Unlike some of the other princesses, Tiana works hard for everything she gets. But sometimes her determination verges on obsession. In both the book and the movie, She puts her dreams of being a princess aside to focus on her career. But is that such a bad thing? After all, Tiana achieves her goals and learns that happily ever afters aren't always what they seem. From ice queens to enchanted frogs, these princesses may wear crowns, but they've got secrets that are anything but fairy tales. So which princess do you think has the darkest secret? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more royal mishaps. We've uncovered the shocking truth about Cinderella and Snow White. Now, get ready for the ultimate revelation as we expose the disturbing details about Aurora and Ariel in Part 5. You won't believe what's lurking beneath the surface of those enchanting tales. Stay tuned and keep an eye on the clock, because once midnight strikes, you won't want to miss a single second of this spellbinding adventure. Until then, keep dreaming big and beware of the hidden shadows in your happily ever afters. Welcome to my channel. Today we'll explore the hidden darkness in Disney's films. From sinister villains to questionable morals, we'll uncover the secrets that make these movies both magical and terrifying. First up, Princess Snow. 9. Elsa from Frozen. Let's talk about Elsa, one of the most iconic modern Disney princesses. On the surface, Frozen looks like a story about sisterhood and empowerment, but hidden underneath are some of the darkest truths Disney has ever told. 1. Elsa was originally the villain. Most fans don't realize Elsa was first written as the story's villain. Early drafts of Frozen had her as a cold-hearted queen who deliberately froze Ariel. Disney reworked her into a sympathetic character, but traces of her darker origins remain in her design and powers. 2. Isolation and trauma. Elsa's childhood is essentially a story of abuse and neglect. Her parents lock her away, tell her to hide her powers, and leave her completely isolated. This isn't empowerment, it's trauma. Many psychologists argue Elsa's story mirrors real-world issues of repression, anxiety, and depression. 3. The symbolism of Let It Go. While the song is an anthem of freedom, its deeper symbolism is darker. Concealed Dantifiel mirrors how people struggling with mental illness or identity crises are told to hide their true selves. Elsa's freedom comes only after years of pain and emotional suppression. For Hans as a dark reality. Hans, isn't just a twist villain. He represents the dark reality that not every charming prince has good intentions. This shattered the Disney formula, but also introduced a dark truth. Sometimes the people you trust most are the ones who betray you. 5. Frozen's dark inspiration. The movie was inspired by Hans Christian Andersen's The Snow Queen, a tale filled with death, demons, and despair. Disney's Frozen softened it, but the icy roots remain chillingly dark. Now, Princess number 10, Tiana, from The Princess and the Frog. Now, let's finish with Tiana, Disney's first black princess. Her story looks inspiring, a hard-working dreamer who builds her own future. But beneath the surface, there are darker layers that many fans noticed. 1. Tiana spends most of the film as a frog. Unlike other princesses, Tiana barely gets to shine as herself. She spends the majority of the film as a frog. For many fans, this felt unfair, as if Disney gave its first black princess less screen time in her true human form. 2. The Shadow Man equals dark voodoo stereotypes. Dr. Facilier, the villain, uses voodoo magic. While he's stylish, this portrayal feeds into harmful stereotypes about African and Caribbean spiritual traditions, painting them as evil and dangerous. 3. The real settings, dark history. The story takes place in New Orleans in the 1920s, a time when racial segregation was still very real. Disney never directly addresses it, but adult viewers notice the heavy contrast between Tiana's struggles and the glamorous world around her. For Tiana's American dream message, while Disney shows her achieving success through hard work, many fans argue the story ignores the harsh reality of systemic racism in that era. Her journey feels like a simplified version of a much more painful truth. 5. The original Frog Princess tale. In older European versions of the story, the princess is forced into marriage with the frog, and in some darker retellings, The frog's transformation comes after violence. Disney avoided this, but the creepy roots still exist. Tiana's story is inspirational, but it's wrapped in uncomfortable truths about representation, history, and missed opportunities. And that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more. See ya. The Dark Side of Disney Princesses, Part 2. From Snow White's poisoned apple to Cinderella's bloody slippers, to Pocahontas' tragic real life, fate, and Elsa's trauma-filled childhood. These stories aren't just fairy tales. They're rooted in history, folklore, and symbolism that's way darker than what Disney shows on the surface. And a lot of that darkness Disney had to erase or rewrite to make these stories kid-friendly. But when adults look closely, the hidden truths still shine through. These princesses aren't just magical. They're tragic, complex, and sometimes even disturbing. So the next time you watch a Disney movie, remember, behind every glittering gown and happily ever after, there's a dark story that Disney doesn't want you to know. Part 2 coming soon.